Let's get started today with the phonogram. A, two-letter A, that we do use at the end of English words. Will you please write it? A, two-letter A, that we do use at the end of English words. And hold it up when you're done, please. Still looking for some boards held up. It looks like maybe Alexander's looking for his whiteboard. Sampita maybe getting her breakfast. Here's A, two-letter A, that we do use at the end of English words. Next, please write A, two-letter A, that we do not use at the end of English words. And why does this one not go at the end of English words? Emma?
Because English words do not end with I.
Perfect. That's exactly right. Hold it up when you're done. Very good. Marcus, you've got the exact right phonogram, but would you underline them so that you group the letters together? To help us see that it's two letters working together to make one sound. Okay, next, please write the phonogram. Alexander, you wrote two-letter f. This one is just f. Same sound. This one is just f. Very good. Should look like this. Next, please write k. K. Harika, you're very close. That one is k. This one should just be k. Very good. Next, please write v. V. Great. And just a couple more. AE, that we do not use at the end of English words. AE, that we do not use at the end of English words. Think of like reins for a horse. AE, that we do not use at the end of an English word. Great job, Harika. Great job, Aryansh. Can you underline those two letters working together? Excellent, Alexander, Ty, Galina, Sahanasri. AE, that we do not use at the end of English words. And last one, AE, that we do use at the end of English words. Okay. Time for some spelling words to review now. These words will be on Friday's quiz. Let's begin with flammable. Who can tell me what it means if something is flammable? What does that word mean? Emma?
That means it can catch on fire.
That's right. Able to catch on fire. Flammable. Hold it up when you're done, please. Ty, could you write it smaller so I can see the whole word together? Okay. Let me give you all plenty of time to write it. Flammable.
I just can't find my whiteboard or my markers, so I'm using pencils.
That's fine. You can use just pencil on paper, but would you write it a little bit smaller so that you can fit the whole word on one line? Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, it looks like we've got a few that are correct, but some people have a common mistake of one M instead of two. There's a double N in flammable. Give yourself a pat on your back if you were one of the few that got that one right. That's a tricky one, and it's been a while since we've reviewed it. So great job if you did that correct. Okay, so flammable. Please add syllable breaks to really make sure you've got each one. Flammable. Two phonograms there. Okay. Look at your board, double check that you have two M's. Samhita, it looks like you need to make some changes to this one. Can you double check? Oh, nope, you don't. Now that I see it closer, you've got it right. Good job. Flammable. Next, please write unfortunate. We were talking about the series of unfortunate events when we learned this word before. Did anybody read one of those books or find one of those books after talking about that recently? Might be a better one to start when you're about 4th grade or so.
But my mom had me watch the movie form of this book called Alexander and the Terrible, Horrible, No Good, Very Bad Day.
Oh, I loved that book when I was a kid, and it looks like our Alexander likes it.
I watched the movie version of it, and it was really good. It was funny.
Oh, nice. Okay, so for unfortunate, which describes very well Alexander's day, even though he should still be positive. He had a lot of unfortunate events happen in his day. Not our Alexander, the other Alexander. Make sure you're thinking to spell unfortunate, not unfortunate. We think to spell unfortunate with the word Nate at the end, like Big Nate.
Oh, yeah, those books are hilarious.
Okay, so that's our last syllable. Yeah, who likes the Big Nate books? A couple people. Unfortunate. Could picture Big Nate having a very unfortunate day. Okay, next word, major. Like he won a major award. Does anybody like the Christmas movie, A Christmas Story? Talk about, it's a major award. Nope. Major, we think to spell major. Or major generals, you major in something in college. Lots of ways we can use this word major. And then we looked at the word based off of it, majority. That's right. Aryansh and Samhita predicted it. Majority. Majority. In this one, or says its normal sound. Majority. Okay, let's do two more. Next is elaborate. Elaborate means add more detail to, like elaborate on your story. Or we can pronounce it a little differently when we use it as an adjective, like the elaborate chandelier in the great hall. Or we are talking about elaborate Christmas decorations, which means it's over the top, kind of fancy. Elaborate. Elaborate. I'm so ticked. They left off my whole, like all of my cold foods. And our last word for review today is citizen. We talked about citizens in history. A citizen is someone who belongs to a country or place, and they benefit from it in some way. They might be protected by the law if they're a citizen of that place, and they're able to come in and out of the country if they're a citizen. Okay. So we should have elaborate and citizen as those last two words. Hold it up when you're done with those. Excellent. I'm waiting to see Rishith and Marcus and Alexander. Would you hold yours back up for a minute? Dikshita, Josiah, can you hold yours up so I can see it? Thank you. Ty, could you hold yours up so I can see it? Oh, Emma, very close, but for citizen, we're going to use the phonogram Z. Ty, can I see what you've written? Okay, can you hold it up a little closer? Without it being with marker, it's a little hard to read. Thank you. Okay. Time for us to start a new spelling lesson. So you can put the whiteboards away for now and take out your binder. As we're transitioning over to a new spelling lesson, I want to go over the new poem that we're going to be learning together over the next couple of weeks. It is a really fun one called Ella Telephony. Or I usually pronounce it Ella Telephony because it kind of rolls off the tongue better. But I think it's really supposed to be Ella Telephony. So I'm going to present my screen over to this so we can go through it together. And then we'll start on our new spelling lesson. Oh, Ella Telephony. Here it is. Let me get one that's a little better.
It almost sounds like telephone. And then
it's, as you'll see, it really is a combination of elephant and telephone.
It's an elephant.
And it's all about when you get your words mixed up. Does it ever happen to you when you try to say one thing and then something else altogether comes out of your mouth?
Yep.
You get your words kind of fumbled up. Does anybody have a funny example of when that's happened to them? When you've tried to say one thing and then you've said another. Or maybe your brothers or sisters have done this. Marcus?
Okay, this will be embarrassing.
Oh, can't hear from Marcus right now. Samhita, do you have an example of when this has happened to you?
Actually, it happened to my sisters. So Sanya, she was trying to say black, but instead she was trying to but instead she said blue.
Yep, that definitely happens, mixing up the colors, even if it's not somebody young. Tig, do you have an example of this?
One time, so we were in the car and Maeve made me play I Spy with her and Mom, and so I did. And I was trying to say, I spy with my little eyes something red, and I kept saying, I spy with my little eyes something like orange or yellow or green.
So it just kept coming out of your mouth wrong.
Yeah, and that actually happens to me a lot. Like one time I was trying to read aloud for something, and I was like, okay, so that is why I would never no.
Yep, that happens to me too. Oh, okay. So this poem is all about that feeling when you try to say one thing and then you say something else, especially with rhyming words or words that start with the same letter. There's alliteration. That happens a lot. Okay, let's read it. Ella Telephony by Laura Elizabeth Richards. Once there was an elephant who tried to use the telephant. No, I mean an elephone who tried to use the telephone. Dear me, I am not certain quite that even now I've got it right. However it was, he got his trunk entangled in the telefunk. The more he tried to get it free, the louder buzzed the telefee. I fear I'd better drop the song of Elefop and Telefong. Ella Telephony by Laura Elizabeth Richards. Okay, let's try it.
That's funny.
It is funny. Would anybody like to say it for us? Deekshita, I'll let you try it for us.
Once there was an elephant who tried to use the telephone. No, I mean the elephone. Who tried to use the telephone? Dear me, I'm not certain quite that even now I've got it right. However,
This is abbreviation of however. We say however.
yeah.
However.
However, his trunk.
Okay, I don't know about you all, but I can't hear Deekshita. She's frozen. I'll have a Tig try it out too.
Telephone. No, I can't hear you properly, Miss.
Okay, Deekshita, I'm muting you. There's, I think, a problem with your internet connection, or maybe it's on my end, but I'm not able to hear you very well. I'll have you try it another time, though. Okay, Tig.
Ella Telephony by Laura Elizabeth Richards. Once there was an elephant who tried to use the telephone. No, I mean the elephone who tried to use the telephone. Dear me, I am not certain quite that even now I've got it right. However it was, he got his trunk entangled in the telefunk. The more he tried to get it free, the louder buzzed the telefee. I fear I'd better drop the song of Elefop and Telefong. Ella Telephony by Laura Elizabeth Richards.
Excellent.
Wow.
It's a very enjoyable little poem. Oh, Josiah's cracking up.
Hey,
So we'll continue practicing that over the next couple couple of weeks. I think it's super fun. But you might find yourself when you're reciting it wrong because there's words like elephone and telephant, and it just messes you up. Okay, so let's start on our new spelling lesson. Does everybody have their binder and pencil ready to go? And we'll do more of that Ella Telephone poem later in the class too. So if you wanted a chance to say it, don't worry, we'll get to you later.
I think my elephants will say it.
Okay. Our first word today is describe. Would you say describe? Describe. What does it mean to describe something? Who can use it for me in a sentence? Harika?
What was the word again?
Describe.
Describe the sentence.
Yeah, okay, good. Describe the sentence, or I could say, would you describe the word describe? Which means like to explain and give an explanation. Or I guess that's the same thing in a row, but kind of has to do with the word elaborate that we talked about as well. Describe usually means give some specific details on, right? Like describe your day. Your parents might tell you, ask at the end of the day. They're wanting some specific details. Okay, let's write or sound out the word describe. Describe. 2 words. Sorry, 2 syllables. I'm doing the Ella Telephone thing where my words aren't coming out right. Okay, describe. 2 syllables. First syllable, E says its name in an open syllable. Second syllable, sound out the phonograms with me. S, K, R, I, B. 5 sounds. I says its name because of a silent final E, job number 1. Okay, describe. Everything else is basic code. Please sound it out as you write describe. This word is originally Latin. When you hear scribe or script, it has to do with writing. I don't remember if that's one that we'll cover this year or not, but that is a Latin word. Anything that has to do, has scribe or script in it, is it having to do with writing. Describe. Okay. D, E, syllable break. S, K, R, I, B. Silent final E. Describe. Okay. Let's mark it. Describe. I tend to kind of muffle this, but we're not going to put a thinking cap there. But I know some people do say describe, where this ends up being unaccented and kind of muffled. We'll just underline that first one, though. Over here, are we going to mark the ending of this word? Good, Alina. I says its name because of silent final E, job 1. That's right. Okay. Describe is an action word. What part of speech is that? It's a verb. Now, to change it into a noun, we use the word description. Like, oh, I read the description of the restaurant to see if I would like it. Description. Or I read the description on the back of the book to know what the story was about. For description, not only do we drop our silent final E, but we also are going to change the B to a P. So we're changing B to P in the word description. Then we add the Sean suffix to the end. Okay, please sound it out as you write description. Description. Change B to P before adding the Sean suffix. Description. Okay, cross it out and rewrite it if you made a mistake. And let's mark it. Description. The E. Underline that E, saying its name in an open syllable. Script is basic code. Sean suffix, normal Sean suffix markings are to underline tall letter sh and thinking cap on a, o, u. Description is a noun. Next word is another D word. Disappear. Would you all say disappear? Now, what does disappear mean? Alina?
Okay. So it means like to go out of plain sight. Like you can't see that person anymore. It's like you're invisible.
Very good description. Yeah. So to go out of a place and like become invisible. Now appear means like to make yourself known and seen. So disappear, dis means not. So it means not to be seen or to go away from a place. Arianch, can you add on to that a little bit? Elaborate on what Alina said? Oh, sorry. I thought you were
raising my hand.
Okay, so disappear is our word. Now, picture in your head the word appear. There's an unstressed syllable at the beginning, appear. How should we think to spell this? Do you know? Josiah? You were correctly mouthing it, but I can't hear you, unfortunately. It should be appear, right? Appear. There's an unstressed syllable. Oh, now I can hear you, Josiah. So the whole word we think to spell disappear. Sound it out with me. Disappear. 3 syllables. Our first syllable is basic code, dis. And the second syllable, we're going to have a silent p. It's a double p to keep our vowel short. And in our last syllable, the E sound is from E-A. What are we using? E-A. Okay. Sound it out, please, as you write disappear. Remembering to double the p. Disappear. Double the p to keep the a-a short. D is syllable break. P syllable break. Disappear. Who got it correct? Excellent. Remembering that double p and e-a. So we say disappear. Over here in the second syllable, we're going to put a thinking cap on a-a. And double underline the first p. It's just there to keep the vowel short. And let's underline this phonogram. Alexander, can you tell us the sounds of this phonogram again? The 2 letters here together are E, E.
Oh. Sorry, didn't see
That's
it.
okay.
I thought it was an I-E.
Perfect. Let's do that all together, boys and girls. E-A. E-A. Good. Okay, we are on to our last word of the lesson. Our last word today is elegant. Would you say elegant? Elegant. Elegant means beautiful, fancy, maybe kind of graceful, and maybe very proper looking as well. What might you describe as something or someone who is elegant? Kruthi, can you think of something that you would describe as elegant?
Maybe
Oh, yes, a princess would be very elegant. What else, Tig?
My fish.
Oh, yeah, a lot of fish could be very elegant and graceful. What kind of fish is it?
I have a betta fish.
Oh, those are beautiful. Okay, let's hear one more thing that we could describe as elegant from Samhita. Oh, they try to be elegant. Uh-oh. Okay, so elegant. We're going to think to spell this word as elegant, or sorry, elegant. That second syllable is unstressed. We think of it as E. Fingers under your chin to say it with me, please. Elegant. 3 syllables. First syllable is basic code, L. And the second syllable, E, says its name in an open syllable. And third syllable, gant, is basic code. Please pick up your pencil and write elegant, which we think to spell L-E-gant. Arshab, did you write the word already? Okay. In the future, please remember to not write anything until after we've gone over it. Okay. Yes, Aryansh?
I don't have a question. I was just raising my hand to tell you that I'm done with the word.
We don't need to raise hands because the cameras are working for me. But thank you for remembering that. Okay. L, syllable break. E, syllable break. G, A, N, T. Elegant. Our second syllable is unstressed. Thinking cap over that. Elegant. We're also going to put a thinking cap on that, A-A-A. This word describes or modifies a noun. So what part of speech does that make it? Alina?
Adjective.
Correct, an adjective.
Hey, it's gonna at the end of the year, can we still like do those like little fun jingles from like that from last well-ordered language book, like the
Yes,
jingles
we will
from
definitely
the
still
last
review the
book.
old ones. Great question. Okay, time for our dictated sentence now. We'll do a pretty short one. Would you describe the elegant party? Again, would you describe the elegant party? Say it back to me. Good. And write it. And then if you have time, you can write a sentence of your own using some of the words from our lesson. Would you describe the elegant party?
The sentence?
Elegant parties would always be fabulous.
I agree. Okay, that's a pretty short one, so I bet many of you are done. Thumbs up if you have already written the sentence. Would you describe the elegant party? Very good. Would you describe the elegant party? Describe an elegant being the spelling words there. Now, I would love to hear some sentences that you created. Kruti, would you share yours?
The description of disappear
Oh,
is
very
elegant
interesting.
but hard to describe.
I like it. Let's hear from Tig.
The evil, elegant pants will disappear.
The evil, elegant pants will disappear. Goodness.
Yes.
Hopefully they weren't on somebody.
Well, then you'd have someone running around with no pants on.
Gracious, do you have a sentence to share?
Describe me about the Bigfoot that can disappear and has an elegant hair. That is a good description. That's why.
Oh, kind of making a reference to Ella Telephone, maybe? Is that what made you think of the elephant? Nice. Okay, well, let's transition over to well-ordered language now. We are in our Book B, and we'll finally start writing in Book B today. Let's review both our subject pronouns and our object pronouns. Would somebody like to say the subject pronouns? I'll have, actually, Arshab, would you do those for us? Subject pronouns. Subject pronouns are in the nominative case. Starting with I, what comes next? Arshab, could you unmute yourself and say as many of the subject pronouns as you can remember? You can say it rather than sing it if you would prefer to.
I, you, he, she, it, we, you, they.
Perfect. Those are all of our subject pronouns. Now, Marcus, can you try the object pronouns? I'll get you started with the first one. Me. Object pronouns are in the objective case. We start off with me. What comes next? Marcus, are you not feeling well? I'm sorry. Okay, if you would prefer, I can have somebody else do it for us. Would you like somebody else, or do you want to try it out for us? Okay, I'm sorry. Yep, you can just rest and listen without having to speak up. Let's have some he to say our object pronouns.
Me, you, him, her, it, us, you, them.
Correct. You got them all. Perfect. Okay, boys and girls. Say all of the object pronouns with me in the tune of our jingle. Object pronouns are in the objective case. Me, you, him, her, it, us, you, them. Me, you, him, her, it, us, you, them. Object pronouns are in the objective case. Me, you, him, her, it, us, you, them. Alexander, moving around a bunch, would you like to do the rest for us? Say our object pronouns for us.
Is it okay if I use a book?
Try to do it from memory if you can.
Right.
Me is the first one.
Right. We, you, him, her, It
Us.
us, you, them. Wait.
Excellent.
It's kind of hard to remember because there's two of them: the subject pronouns and object pronouns.
Yep, that's right. Hopefully it'll make more sense once we put them in sentences, because when you read it out loud, you'll be able to tell, oh, that doesn't sound right.
Yeah.
According to where it lies in the sentence. Okay, and I'll have one more person say the object pronouns. Sahanasri, could you try it out for us? Object pronouns. Starting with me.
Me, you, him, her, us, you, they, them.
Close. You forgot it. Me, you, him, her, it, us, you, them. Can you try it one more time?
Me, you, him, her, it, us, you, them.
Perfect. Well done, Sahanasri. Okay, so when we have a sentence that has an objective pronoun, as of right now, it will always be as the direct object of a sentence. And as you can see here, it actually does not change the way we mark it at all. It's still just circled and it's labeled DO. Okay, so we're going to put that into practice in our pages today. You do have some pages posted in Bright Thinker as well. So we'll do some together, but you'll do some on your own as well. Okay, now at first, we've got a little contraction review, and then we'll do some sentences that have object pronouns. Okay. So we're going to continue doing some contractions as part of our pronoun lessons. Remember that a contraction joins two words together to make it shorter, especially in conversation, we use contractions. When a word has not, and we want to make it a contraction, we remove the O and put an apostrophe in its place. So what do we write as the contraction of do not? Harika? Perfect. Don't. And Arshab, what about the next one? Does not. Perfect.
Doesn't.
And next, Rishith. Perfect. Didn't. Now, the next one is a little unusual. Cannot is already two words that have been joined together. And there is a double in. So what we'll actually do for this is only put one in before our apostrophe T, because we don't really need that other in as far as the way we pronounce it. That's the only one that's a little different, because we're going to remove one of the N's and the O. I'll have you do the next ones on your own, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Do those on your own. It should just take about a minute. Thumbs up if you're done with all 4 of those. I'll give everybody else a little bit longer. Who's done now? Okay, Harika, would you unmute yourself and tell us all four?
Couldn't, shouldn't, will
Oh,
not.
sorry. I forgot to point out that that was another one that doesn't follow the normal rules. Who knows what we're going to say instead of will not? We change it all together. It's an unusual one. Aryansh? Won't. Correct, won't. I think we talked about that one in another contraction lesson, but that's the most unusual contraction. It changes altogether.
Won't.
Okay, and then the last one, Harika?
Mustn't.
Good, mustn't. And that's the way that we pronounce it. Very good. Okay, time to go over how we're going to analyze sentences now that have direct objects. Direct objects that are object pronouns specifically. So in the first sentence, it says, Uncle Ulysses will not read it tonight. Okay. Now, make a mental picture of what's happening there. Uncle Ulysses will not read it tonight. I see Kruti even closing her eyes for her mental picture. I love it. Can you picture Uncle Ulysses saying, oh, nope, I will not read it tonight? Do you have a mental picture? Good. I see Tig also closing his eyes, making a good mental picture. And Alexander, I see doing that too. Okay, so who is doing something in this sentence? Who is our subject? Rishith? Good. In this case,
Ulysses.
Uncle is part of his name, so we're going to underline the whole thing. Uncle Ulysses is our whole subject. Now, what is the sentence telling us about Uncle Ulysses? Remember that picture of Uncle Ulysses. Will not read it tonight. What's our predicate? Who can tell me the predicate of the sentence? Emma? Read. Excellent. Read is the predicate verb there. That's the action of what he's saying. I will not do that action. Now, is there a helping verb? What's the helping verb? Harika, do you see it?
Will.
Great. Will is the helping verb. Great job remembering that not is not a helping verb. What is not? Every time you see it, it's the same part of speech. What is that part of speech, Alexander? Excellent. It basically cancels out the verb. That's how it modifies it. Now, what is the sentence telling us that Uncle Ulysses will not read? Aryansh?
He will read. So it is
excellent.
the DO.
It is what it's saying he will not read. It's receiving the action. So it's our DO. Yes, Aryansh?
What will happen if there's a contraction in a
That's
sentence?
a great question.
And how do we mark it?
So you will not have any of those in third grade. It kind of depends on the curriculum, what you do for marking, because like in these examples, we just were putting a helping verb and an adverb together. So it's technically two parts of speech in one. So we would kind of have to separate it before we mark it. That's a very good question. Okay, and then tonight tells us when he will not read it. What part of speech tells us when? Rishith, what part of speech tells us when?
Adjective.
Oh, close. It's telling us when he will read, modifying the verb.
Adverb.
Good, adverb. Okay, take a moment, boys and girls, and do number 2, and then we'll go over the answer. Please write number 2. Mark that sentence. Yes, Amhita?
There is a contraction with might and not, but I don't get how to do it.
Mightn't. It's not used as much now, but in like older books, you'll see that sometimes. Like, mightn't it be the right idea to do this? We write it like this. Similar to mustn't. Good question. Okay, everybody do number 2 and then click raise hand when you're done.
I forgot to tell you that my mom made me do it yesterday because I have to do tennis today.
Oh, okay. Then you've got a head start.
Yeah.
You already have number 2 answered. Good. Click raise hand when you're done, please, boys and girls.
Miss Gardner, I kind of already did my part of the page 9 of the analyzing already.
Okay, so you're done already. You can just click raise hand to show me that you are ready to go over the answer. Okay. Still waiting on a couple more to finish. Remember to click raise hand when you are done. And who would like to be the one to go over how we analyze this sentence? I'll have Dikshita do it for us. Okay. And you can start now. It looks like everybody is at least very close to being done. Perfect.
Read is the predicate word.
Very good.
The and little are adjectives. They describe to the subject, cousins.
Perfect.
Earlier is a adverb.
Very good.
It is an do.
Very good. It is always a pronoun, so it's either a do or the subject. Good job.
Together is an adverb.
Excellent. Tells us how they will read. And oftentimes, if there's a word after the do, it's an adverb. Great job, Dikshita. Thumbs up if you got the same as her. Very good. If you have any mistakes, take a moment to correct it right now. You'll do several other sentences similar to that in your homework tonight. Not tonight, today. I know you guys do it early in the day. Okay, time for some roots now that you're done with that. Okay, we are going to be learning a new Latin word today and a couple of derivatives. And then we'll do our math.
We didn't write our words in our orthography notebook.
We will. After roots. Thank you, Rika. Okay, boys and girls, we are going to learn a new Latin word today, which means name. The word is nomen or nominus, and we actually just heard about this in our well-ordered language yesterday because it was talking about how pronoun and noun come from this. Nomen nominus. Nomen nominus means name. Okay, so nomen nominus means name. And one derivative of it is the one that we just heard about in well-ordered language, pronoun. A pronoun is a word that is in place of a noun. So that's what we write. In place of a noun, which is exactly what it says also in your well-ordered language workbook. Okay, so pronoun is one of those derivatives. Let's do one more though. Another word that comes from nomen, nominus, is nominate. Who's heard of this word before? Nominate. Where have you maybe heard of this before? Arshop or Alina, I see both of you having hands up for that.
Like I heard in a TV show, like I will like in the sentence I heard like you are nominated for the finals or something.
Very good.
Yeah, that's where like yeah.
Arshop, when have you heard of this word?
I've heard it a lot, but mostly in TV shows. I've heard people say, "I will nominate you."
Very good. Yeah, somebody who is nominated means that their name is kind of handed over for office or for an award. So there are presidential nominees, right? Somebody who's nominated to be president is somebody who's being considered for that office. Or for those of you who maybe watch football, there's like special awards like the Heisman Trophy. People have to be nominated to say they're the best football player of the year, for example. So nominate means suggest someone's name for office or an award. Suggest someone's name for office or an award. There could be different people who are nominated for like the Pulitzer Prize, big awards that show somebody is the best in an area, like the best writer or the best scientist or the best musician. People who are nominated means they're one of the best, and then maybe they'll be chosen for that award. Or they're one of the best options to be president, for example, and then one will be chosen of those options. So usually there's several different people who are suggested, and then one is chosen from those when you're nominated. Deekshita, you can wear that watch, but we don't need to show it, okay? Especially if you're trying to say we've got to move on. It's okay, sweetheart. I'm in charge of when we start the next part of our lesson, okay? When you are done with these three cards, you should be done with 3 today. Please take out your orthography notebook to write down the words from today's lesson. That's all for today. Now, for orthography, we're not going to do any sorting, but we are going to write the words from the lesson on page 50. Lesson 52 was today's lesson. Our first word was describe. Deekshita, sweetie, you've got to keep your camera on. Thank you. Describe. Next is description. Description. Next is disappear. And last one is elegant. When you're done with that, please take out your math notebook to get ready for today's lesson. This is also a great time for a little stretch break. If you need to stand up, get your eyes away from the computer for a little bit. I'm going to leave the meeting and come right back because the camera's not working on my side. Okay, much better. Okay, so we are going to do some mental division today. Still not getting to long division yet. Mental division. Who practiced their division flashcards yesterday? Good. I'm going to open up the chat so that we can do a little quick division review. I want you to write the answer to the following division questions. Let's do 35 divided by 7. Write the answer. Oh, Samhita and Aryan were first. That's correct. 35 divided by 7. Well done. Next, please answer the following one. 54 divided by 6. Very good. Okay, next. 56 divided by 7. 56 divided by 7. Oh, Samhita has been first every single time. Great job, Samhita. And Aryan, you've been just barely behind every single time. With a lot of other people who are pretty fast at it too. Okay, here's another one. 64 divided by 8. 64 divided by 8. Good, 8, because 8 times 8 is 64. And let's do one more. 24 divided by 6. 24 divided by 6. Very good. 4 is correct on that one. You guys are fast. Okay. Let's open up our math notebook at this time. We are going to be practicing some mental division similar to a strategy we did with multiplication just a few weeks ago. So open up your notebook. We're going to write a header at the top. Today is January 5th.
Is it a workbook or a notebook?
What did you say?
Is it a workbook or the notebook?
The notebook. We are going to get to work in our workbook today after class. But right now, I want you just writing in your notebook. Today is January 5th, 2021. This is math lesson 8.1. So there are some long division problems that will be pretty simple. Or sorry, not long division problems, but numbers that are larger that we can divide just because they are multiples of 10. Okay? We talked about the strategy of multiplying mentally with a problem like this. 30 times 7 by thinking of a multiplication fact that we already know mentally. Okay? Now, Sahanasri, what multiplication fact have we memorized that can help us solve for 30 times 7 without having to stack our numbers? Let's take away the 0. And what math fact can we think of?
Seven times 3.
Very good. 7 times 3. And what does 7 times 3 equal?
21.
Correct. 21. So if 7 times 3 is 21, 7 times 30 is what?
210.
Correct. 21 tens or 210. We're going to do something very similar with division today, where we use division facts that you either already know or you're learning currently to solve for longer division problems. Okay, let's take the fact 42 divided by 6. Now, some of you might know that off the top of your head. If not, think of this. 6 times blank equals 42. Who can tell me what number we multiply 6 by to get a product of 42? Tig? And that's going to also be the answer for this.
So you're saying like do 7 times 6?
Perfect.
Okay. So 7 times 6, 42, and that's the answer.
Exactly. So if we know 7 times 6 is 42, 42 divided by 6 is 7. So if we know that 42 divided by 6 is 7, we can solve for 420 divided by 6 without having to do long division. We are going to get to long division later, but we can do this mentally. Remember, what's the answer to 42 divided by 6? What is it again? 7. So 420 divided by 6 is basically 42 tens divided by 6. So our answer is what? 70 or 7 tens. This is the same, and your workbook is going to write it kind of more like this. It's 42 tens. When you see 1 0, it's saying tens place. 42 tens divided by 6 is 7 tens or 70. All right, let's try another one. Let's do 700 divided by 7. 700 divided by 7. Try to find the math fact that you can solve first mentally? Do you see a math fact that we can solve mentally? It's one of the math facts that you know. It's in your flashcards. Do you see it in this number? Okay, Arianch, I'll have you unmute yourself and share. What math fact will help us solve this?
7 divided by 7.
Perfect. And what's the answer to 7 divided by 7?
1.
Perfect. So, Arianch, if 7 divided by 7 is 1, what is 700 divided by 7?
100.
100. Perfect. Okay, let's try another. What about 560 divided by 8? Think over here of what the math fact is. Remove the 0, and what are you left with? By the way, if you are not quite sure how to do this, think of it as 8 times what number equals, remove that 0, 56. Think of it as a multiplication problem. 8 times blank equals 56. Who knows what number is going to go in this blank? 8 times blank equals 56. Josiah, what goes in the blank here?
7.
Correct. So if 8 times 7 equals 56, that means 56 divided by 8 equals 7. And what is 560 divided by 8? Josiah? Josiah?
I just forgot.
That's okay. Now think of this as 56 tens divided into 8 groups equals how many tens? Well, we already know 56 divided by 8 is 7. So our answer is 7 tens. And what is 7 tens equal to?
Oh, 700.
7 tens.
77.
70, perfect. Just 1 0.
Miss
7
Gunn?
tens is 70. Yes?
Wait, your screen was blurry. It's not blurry anymore.
Oh, sorry. Okay. So to do these mentally, it's the same strategy as what we were doing with multiplication, but it is important that we know our multiplication facts and division facts to solve these in our head. Okay, you might need to slow down some of these by using some of the strategies we talked about yesterday, or just always writing what multiplication fact you can use to help you solve it. For example, here's one more. 360 divided by 9. We'll take away the 0, and you're left with 36 divided by 9. And you might want to write it along the side here. 36 divided by 9. How can we solve 36 divided by 9? There's a few different strategies. One is turning it into a multiplication problem. Tig, could you do that for us?
Okay, so 36 divided by 9 is basically it's the 9 times 4 equals 36. So your answer is 4.
Perfect. Think of it as 9 times what equals 36.
Also,
Very good.
I missed 2 and 3 because I was getting a tissue.
Okay, that's fine. It was 700 divided by 7 and 560. You should be able to see those.
Okay.
Divided by 8.
700 divided by 7.
These are just examples to help you with your workbook, though.
Okay.
Pages. So if you don't feel very confident in your multiplication facts, it's going to really slow things down. That's why it's important to make sure we are practicing our flashcards every day. There are strategies to solve these, though, if you still don't know your math facts very well. For example, as we talked about yesterday, repeated subtraction. We could go backwards from 36, skip counting backwards by 9. 36 minus 9 is 27, and you can keep going backwards, 18, until you hit 0. And so that's 4 groups that bring you down to 0. That takes a lot longer to do this strategy, though. Is it a lot simpler to know your multiplication and division facts? Yes. We're going to get to harder and harder division, getting to longer numbers. So you need to know these math facts. So if you had a hard time with any of these, more important.
Miss Gardner, you're frozen.
Yeah, keep on my.
I'm very sorry, boys and girls. Yeah, it looks like I lost internet connection. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Much
Okay, sorry about that.
It's a-okay.
Thank you. Okay, so this strategy is really similar to what we did with multiplication. Just adding on zeros to our answer, using the math facts that you know, and then adding on zeros. This is what you'll be doing in some of your workbook pages after class today. In your workbook pages, which are 147 to 148, some of it is just solving a division problem using a multiplication fact you know. You might have to write out your tables if you don't know your multiplication facts well. It's going to take a lot longer to do it that way. But if you have memorized your math facts, this should be pretty quick. Using a multiplication fact you know, solve a division fact. For example, it shows blank times 6 equals 36. The answer is 6. So 36 divided by 6 is 6. On the next page, if you have your workbook, you can look on page 148 with me. It's going to walk through ones like 56 divided by 7. That's just ones. We don't have any extra zeros, so it's just 56 ones divided by 7 is equal to what? You'll write it down. And then for the next two, it's going to be tens or hundreds, depending on if there's 1 or 2 zeros. So it'll coach you through using math facts that you already know to mentally solve these ones that are multiples of 10. And at the bottom, it's several of those problems without walking through the steps, but use strategies that we've talked about to solve those. Let's do that first one together. It says 240 divided by 4 for that first one at the bottom of the page. $240 divided by 4. Now, our first step is to find what the math fact is that we're going to try to solve. You remove the 0 and Kruti, tell us what math fact do we know that can help us solve for this problem?
What?
The problem is 240 divided by 4. We're going to remove the 0 and be left with a math fact that we already know. What is it?
So,
Take away the 0.
so 200. We'd have to do 4 times.
Okay, Kruti. So if we take away the 0, it's 24. So basically this is 24 tens divided by 4. Can you turn that into a multiplication fact?
So 4 times what would equal 24?
Perfect. And what goes in the blank?
Is it 4 times 4?
4 times 4 is 16. You're almost there. If you need to count by 4s till you get to 24, you can do that, Kruti. Can you count by 4s with me? 4,
8. 12.
add 4 more.
12. 16. 20.
Good.
And 24.
Perfect. So how many times did we have to skip count by 4s to get to 24?
6.
6. So that tells us that 4 times 6 equals 24. And 24 divided by 4 is 6. But we're trying to solve for 240 divided by 4. So what does that mean our answer is?
6.
60, because it's 6
Oh, yeah.
tens. We're going to add 1 0. Since there was 1 0 we removed before, we're going to add it back here. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so turn it into a multiplication fact that you know. I know many of you maybe have not practiced your division facts at all with flashcards. You've just been doing multiplication. So it takes some time to move it from a division problem into a multiplication problem, you know. That is a big chunk of what you're going to be practicing today, turning it from a division problem into a multiplication problem that you know. Alexander, did you have something to share?
I just raised my hand in case I could go next.
Oh, okay. You know what? We'll do one more. I would love for you to go next. How about you do 250 divided by 5?
Easy. 50. The answer is 50.
Oh my goodness. How did you do that so fast?
I practice my math facts every day.
Oh, way to go, Alexander. That is amazing. Okay. Walk us through what you did there.
So I just thought, what is 5 whatever times 25? And I did it really fast in my head. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. 5 times 5 equals 0. 50.
Very good. So we know that 5 times 5 is 25. Great job, Alexander. And then we're going to add that 0. 50. That's excellent. Practicing with your flashcards is the most helpful way to be prepared for this. Do you use your flashcards when you practice, Alexander?
Yeah.
That is excellent.
Miss Garner.
You have division flashcards too?
I have plus, minus, division, and multiplication.
Excellent. Boys and girls, I highly recommend starting to do those division flashcards every day this week. Multiplication flashcards will also help you. But if you have division flashcards, start using those so you can start thinking very quickly of the answer to problems like 25 divided by 5. Yes, Emma?
25, 250, basically says 50.
Yep, 50 is part of the number. It's saying if there's 25 tens that go into 5 groups equally, there's 5 in each group. Okay, so use whatever strategies help you to solve these. I would say especially those multiplication facts that you know. Use those to help you. If you need to do some skip counting, feel free to do that, okay? Don't just look up the answer, though. That's not going to help you. Make sure you're doing this in your head, not looking at the back of a flashcard, really doing it in your head. Okay, those are the 2 pages you're going to do for your math workbook today. Who feels pretty good at division facts right now? If you already felt good about your multiplication facts, then it should be pretty easy to transition over to division. But it's okay for some of you if you're still getting used to, maybe it's just been the long Christmas break, 2 weeks off, or you just have a harder time thinking about, for example, 25 divided by 5 is the same as 5 times 5 equals 25. Maybe it takes a little time for you to just get used to that. So if you've got those division flashcards, practice those today, practice them every day, and you're going to be rocking with your facts, just like Samhita entering those numbers as quick as can be earlier, and Alexander popping out those answers. You guys did a great job with that. Ariansh, you're doing that really fast. Dikshita too. Tag as well was really good and quick with his facts. So make sure that you're practicing your flashcards every single day to really master them. Okay, great lesson today, everybody. It's time for just my reading group today. Thank you for a wonderful lesson. You've got quite a bit of note-taking today. If that ends up being too much, as always, you can finish it up the next day, because for history and science, there's quite a bit of notes. But for science, there's also drawing a picture of the solar system. So I hope that you enjoy that. Okay, Deekshita.
Can we color the solar system?
Stay with me. I'll talk to everybody else tomorrow.
Bye. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
What did you say?
Have a wonderful day. Dikshita, Ariansh, Arshab, Josiah, bye, Harika, and Emma. Have a great day, girls.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Harika. Okay, boys and girls, I believe we started King Arthur right before Christmas, didn't we? Are you guys ready to read a little bit more?
But I already finished it.
Did you? Oh, that's
Yes.
fabulous. You read it on Epic?
Whoa.
Yes, I think I read a little too much of it. Once I started reading it, I couldn't stop myself from reading it.
That's how it.
Oh, I'm so glad.
That's actually a good thing.
Okay, so
I'm gonna
you know,
try to
with
keep
classics, sometimes you can still always get a lot out of even reading it 2 or 3 times. So I'm gonna pull up King Arthur for us. And let's review where we left off.
I think it was chapter 2. Yeah, I think it was chapter 2. Yeah.
Yeah, chapter 2.
It's a calico. Here we go. Yes, so we just finished chapter 1. And remember that little Arthur was the only one able to take the sword out of this stone, which means what? What does it mean if he's the one that gets to pull the sword out of the stone? Who remembers? Aryanch?
He's king of England or Great Britain.
Exactly. It means that he's supposed to be the next king. That was a lot happening in just one chapter. So he has just pulled out the sword, and everybody knows what that means. So let's begin with the sword and the stone. Alina, would you like to start for us?
Of course, but first I have to turn off my camera.
Yes, that would be best.
Okay. Brother, said Arthur, I will tell the entire truth. I couldn't find a sword in pavilion. Fearing thee would lose the fight battle. I remembered the sword at the cathedral. I pulled it out with ease. I wrapped it in my cloak and ran to give it to thee. Sir Kay collected his thoughts. My brother doesn't know that the significance what he's done.
This is significance. This actually is not making the n sound. It's significance, which means like importance.
Oh, I feel like I heard that word before.
Yeah.
My brother doesn't know the significance of what he's done. Why should I lay claim to his great feat? Fear or feet? I can't really notice that word.
Feet, and not like the feet, like our foot, but it's like a great accomplishment, like a big challenge.
Nice. And reap the glory. Give me the glory.
What does the brother want to do?
He wants to get all the glory.
He wants all of his brother's glory. Oh, gosh.
Sheesh, selfish brother.
Very.
Give me the cloak and the sword, commanded Sir Kay. Tell no one what you hast done. Keep it between us. Now go tell father to come here right away. Young Arthur was completely unaware of what he had done and what it meant. He did as Sir Kay told him. Oh no. Father, thee must come at once, Arthur told Sir Ector. Kay needs thee to go straight away to pavilion. I think he has something extraordinary to tell thee. When Sir Ector arrived at the pavilion, he noticed that Sir Kay's eyes shone with a brightness never seen before. What is the matter, son? It is a wonderful matter, said Sir Kay. He took his father by the arm and led him to into a table in the center of the pavilion. Upon the table lay the cloak, which Sir Kay unwrapped to reveal the sword's blade. It glistened with splendor. Sir Ector gasped. What do my eyes see? It's the sword that stood embedded in the stone, said Sir Kay. I beg of thee, please tell me what this means. Sir Ector replied, first tell me how thee came upon the sword.
Good. So he's wanting to know how all of this came about. Sir Kay is the one that is taking the credit for it, though.
Yeah. Sire, my sword broke in battle, and I found this sword and pulled it out. Sir Kay replied, no, you liar.
I'll stop you there, actually, and have Ariane read next.
Oh, okay, but Sir Kay's a liar.
He's a total liar. And why is he lying about this?
He wants all the
It's because he wants to be king.
He wants to be king. That's right. But
he wants to have all the
you
power.
think that it's actually going to work? Because remember Merlin, who's actually like the magic behind it. Do you think they would let somebody else just claim to be king?
No.
No, not at all.
Yeah, usually
no
in a situation like this, the liar gets found out, and we know that it's not going to be that they just get their way.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot to stop recording.
Miss Garner?